Superman is one of the most iconic superheroes of all time. I mean, he's literally on the Mount Rushmore of superheroes. Over the years, we've seen tons of different takes on the famous character, ranging from the nostalgic, hopeful, and charming Christopher Reeve to the darker, more grounded version played by Henry Cavill. And now with James Gunn Superman flying into theaters, it's time to look up at the legacy of the Man of Steel. Recently, I took the time to watch every Superman film, so let's rank them on a tier list, and as a bonus, I'll briefly talk about a couple of Superman shows I've watched just for this video. Let's get into it. Let's quickly start off with the two shows before getting into the films. If you want to watch one of the best portrayals of Superman in media, the animated series is a perfect place to start. Out of all the projects I've seen for this marathon besides the new movie, this might be the best representation of him, or at least in animation form. This show manages to give us a Clark Kent and Superman who feels relatable and powerful. The villain selection is great too, from Lex Luthor to Brainiac to Darkseid. Most of the episodes are great, while some weren't always the greatest. But that shouldn't shut you off from watching this show. And honestly, if you want to understand what Superman should feel like, this show is a perfect place to start. The animated series is going in A tier. Season 1 of My Adventures with Superman is next, and I'm not including season 2 only because I haven't watched it and season 3 isn't even out yet. The season is charming, funny, and full of heart. Clark, Lois, and Jimmy are all standouts in the show. They have fun dynamics, chemistry between this trio, and I love seeing Clark learn how to use his abilities as a hero as the season progressed. Jack Quaid does a great job voicing him, but I will say it's not the first project you should watch if you want to get into this character. It feels like this season dives into different stories that should be shown in later seasons, like the multiverse is in here early on in an episode. I do appreciate it's telling something different and not the same thing over and over, but it's the first Superman show I've seen, and although it was good, I should have watched something like the animated series first. The villains were meant for me, but perhaps I'll like them more on rewatch. The animation is definitely different and gives you that anime feel when watching. The first season is also in A tier. Finally getting into the Superman film, starting with Christopher Reeve's first Superman debut. Right off the bat, I love the casting in this film. It's almost like they picked the perfect actors to resemble each character well. From Christopher Reeve as Clark and Superman, to Lois Lane, to Jimmy, to Perry White, they all bring the characters to life, even Lex Luthor. I really appreciate that they included Superman's entire origin story. It feels complete, unlike other Superman medias out there. I think this film, and of course the animated series, did its origin best. My only nitpick would be some of the effects are a bit outdated, but some actually hold up really well. And yes, I do like the turning back scene, and I don't hate it, and it works well. Overall, this is a fantastic origin story for the Man of Steel himself, and it's going in S tier. Superman 2 is next, and I ended up watching the Richard Donner cut over the theatrical one. This is a great continuation of the first film. I love the character arcs with Lois trying to figure out who Superman really is, and Superman going through an identity crisis, even giving up his powers for a short period of time. Their chemistry is still fantastic, and I loved every second of them together on screen, but the ending is a big mix for me. Superman kisses Lois to erase her memory, and while I kind of get it, it also feels like it undoes a lot of their growth and development throughout the film. Spoiler alert, but there are other pieces of Superman media where once Lois finds out Clark is Superman, there's no turning back time or anything. Clark just lets it happen, and I like that. I love the scenes with Jor-El and the way Superman interacts with his father's legacy. Lex Luthor has less screen time, but it's funny in the moments he's in. Revenge! Now we're cooking. General Zod and his crew are kind of decent villains.
So this is Planet Houston.
Action is kind of fun too, and the effects are arguably worse than the first film, but overall I enjoyed the story, the arcs, and the Superman Lois dynamic. Still prefer the first film though, so the cut is going in B tier. Superman 3 is next, and it's just weird and somehow hilarious at the same time. I honestly don't know what they were going for here. There are a few saving graces though, like Christopher Reeve does a good job with the dual performance with the short evil Superman arc, which I'm not exactly huge on, but it's whatever, and some of the comedy works in a bizarre way. But this movie's got problems.
Superman's bad.
Lois is gone after the beginning of the film. Lana shows up instead, almost replacing her, and her chemistry with Clark doesn't hit the same. Gus Gorman, whose name I had to Google for the sake of this video, dominates the film to the point it feels like he's the main character. The villains are forgettable, the writing and effects are bad, the tone is inconsistent, and the plot makes no sense. Easily one of the worst Superman films, but at least I had a little chuckle. Superman 3 is going in D tier. Superman 4, The Quest for a VFX Budget, is next, and this is straight up one of the worst looking superhero films I've ever seen. Horrible VFX even for the late 80s, and they literally reused the same Superman flying shot multiple times. The third act fight scenes were completely laughable, the writing and plot were pretty bad, and I'm not huge on the love triangles at all, so seeing one between Clark and Lacey and Superman and Lois doesn't make things better. We even get Clark telling Lois he's Superman just for him to erase her memory again, and still doesn't end up with her. Like, what are we doing? Lex is fine, but the new villain Nuclear Man is the biggest NPC in all 4 films. There's like nothing likable about him. Christopher Reeve does what he can, but even he can't even carry this film. This is a total mess. Superman 4 goes in D tier. Superman Returns is next, trying to continue the Reeve films, but fails miserably at doing so. Firstly, he completely ignores the events of the third and fourth film, which is fine of course. It's supposed to be canon to Superman 1 and 2, but there are so many eras continuing the films, it's just better off as a standalone Superman film. The Fortress of Solitude and Jor-El's message were destroyed in the second film, yet somehow they're displayed once again with no explanation. The airplane scene was fantastic alone, and that was one of the only things saving this film. The rest is slow, dull, this film looks gray and lifeless. Superman should feel colorful and full of life, and this doesn't. I also hated the Clark, Lois, Richard love triangle once again. I mean, seriously, does anyone even like love triangles? Brandon Roth is okay as Superman. Overall, it's a missed opportunity. Not the worst of the Superman films, but it's definitely a letdown. Superman Returns is going in C tier. Man of Steel was the first Superman film I watched a few years ago, and I originally loved it. But rewatching it now, it's gone down a lot. This is one of the most controversial takes on Superman, and for good reason. While I respect the boldness, Superman is not supposed to kill or be treated like a godlike figure. He's a symbol of hope and not a wrecking ball punching villains through buildings while innocent people get caught in the crossfire. Zack Snyder understands tone, but he doesn't understand Superman. There are so many weird choices in this film too, like Jonathan Kent dying in a tornado he could have easily been saved from, or General Zod and his crew being sent to the Phantom Zone literally right before Krypton explodes. Like, just leave them there. Henry Cavill is solid, and the first flight scene is great, and the score is amazing. The characters are fine. The dynamic between Superman and Lois doesn't come close to the dynamic in the first two Reeve films, but overall this is a fundamentally flawed version of the character, and if you're into the light and hopeful tones of Superman, you're going to love James Gunn's version of the character. Before we get into that, this film is going in C tier. I just got out of Superman like an hour ago or so. It's like 11:30 at night. This movie is such a blast, man. This movie is literally a comic book movie in live action. So with Superman, it's not an origin of Superman setting up this entire universe. This universe is already set up. It's already established. Superman's one of the first movies a part of it, and Superman's been Superman for 3 years. And I think this movie is really done well. If you're looking for a proper origin, you have the 70s Superman and you have the animated series. If you want to get into the action side of things and get into Superman and his chemistry with his characters and everything, this is a perfect movie. And I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is my favorite Superman movie I've seen. But right now, I can't think of it. Perhaps it's biasy, but I can't really think of a negative. That's just at the moment. The story that we get with Superman is amazing. Lex Luthor has to be the biggest op of all time. Nicholas Hoult does the greatest job portraying Lex Luthor. This might be the best portrayal of Lex Luthor I've seen. You already know the Clark and Lois chemistry. Amazing. David Cornsweet is amazing in his role. Rachel, she's like the best Lois Lane I've seen on screen. The most gorgeous Lois Lane on screen. But their chemistry was amazing. I love their dynamic. This is the Superman and Lois. And it's weird because it's their first movie of we see these actors and everything on screen. If you looked at every single interpretation of Superman and Lois, this is the Superman and Lois. The movie does start off with a little text and exposition kind of displaying like this universe has already been around for centuries, which I'm pretty sure James Gunn has mentioned. So you're pretty much just jumping right into the world, jumping in right into the comic. The action, the visuals were great. I love Crypto. I mean, who doesn't love Crypto? My dog is literally Crypto. I'm literally Superman. You can't beat us. The acting was well done, especially with with this amazing casting that we have with these characters. The casting for them was great, and it honestly makes me want to watch more DC content. Now, I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but there were a couple cameos in here, fun cameos, quick cameos. It was really great, and it got me thinking about Batman too. On like, how is James Gunn gonna do Batman? Batman has nothing to do with this movie, by the way. I feel like Batman should be one of the next movies. I'm surprised it isn't. Perhaps Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson could tie into the DCU somehow, either as the DCU's Batman, or if not him, then I would love to have like Alan Richardson. But David Cornsweet is the Superman. He's the best Superman. This is the best Superman movie. Just a beautiful movie overall, and I really want a world's finest movie. But enough yapping already. This movie's going in S tier as the top Superman movie, and that is my ranking of all Superman movies on a tier list, of course, including the anime series and Adventures of Superman Season 1. If you haven't already, checked out my Jurassic Park and World ranking for all the movies, and check out my prehistoric Minecraft video. If you haven't seen Superman, check that out as soon as possible. And I'm also thinking about making a watching and ranking video for Fantastic Four First Steps and some of the other movies and shows. I'm not 100% sure if this video will happen though. Maybe it might be made into a short, but if you guys want to see that, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And I hope you guys enjoyed this ranking. Of course, our rankings are going to be different, so comment your ranking down below. Anyways, have an amazing day. God bless you. Jesus loves you. And make sure to look up. Goodbye.